you have a safe place to land. You get to show up feeling as you are, how you are in the moment. And we as women, we need those safe places to land. So I hope that's what that feels like for y'all here today. I'm your host, Melissa Crook. I've got returning friends, Tara May Temple and Laura Tolosi. If you've followed us, you've met these friends before, both on panels, radio show, and the podcast. And then a new friend, Nikki Allen, joining us as we round out the year today. You're going to get to hear from all of them on how they're feeling as we round out this 2025. And then you're also going to get a chance to hear from them on where you can find and follow them. And that will be in our show notes as well here on our YouTube channel for you to have access to. So don't worry about that. For me today, and this come as you are, I talk about the layers a lot here on my network and the nuances of emotions and the importance of having the ability to hold space for all the emotions that you're feeling and not do any stuffing, but giving them room to breathe and you a chance to kind of feel them and move them through when that is required. And that's kind of a perfect explanation of where I am today, because I had a wonderful weekend. We escaped over to the Central California coast and we got to go to the Cambria Christmas market. It's the biggest German Christmas market on the West Coast. I am a Christmas, my husband would say fanatic. I would say a fan of. We have a different view on what anyway, but I do love Christmas. And so we started that. So we left. It was kind of a last minute decision. On Thursday, I'm like, hey, what if we jump over to the coast this weekend? And it's kind of that window of time we have to get over there before we do our holiday stuff and get into the new year. So he's like, yeah, that works. We can do that. There was no college football that we cared about that was on this weekend other than the LA Bowl. We're very college football driven, especially with him being in higher ed administration. So it's like the playoffs don't start till next week. We did catch, and we're also big volleyball fans. So we caught some of the NCAA volleyball, but we got home in time for that yesterday. Anyway, we have a very distorted way of organizing our life around college sports. Anyway, so it was a good weekend to go over there. So experience the market. Just felt good when I walked in there. Went to the Morro Bay lighted Christmas parade, where fishing boats, in fact, kind of the whole community, whether you're a member of the yacht club or you're a longtime fisherman or anywhere in between, you can decorate your boat and be part of the parade. And we saw all kinds of creative. So one group had their boat lit up like a whale, and they even had the spout with the lights up above as a spout. We had others with a lot of like blow ups on them, like abominable snowman blow up from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We had one that was lit up like a sleigh. I mean, people got very creative and very fun with it. So we're able to find a place. We found a great, fun little restaurant that we could see out the windows right along the Embarcadero there and watch that. Stayed at we have a family member who's just bought a house in the area. So we were actually checking on that for them until they get down there. And that was the motivation for trying to get over there as well. But then got to drive around the area after we got done at the boat parade, see the Christmas lights. There's a great sourdough bakery on Sunday morning close by that we walked down to, grabbed a coffee, sat by the water, found my zen again. So was feeling super refreshed. Got in the car driving home and had the news on and started hearing about all the horrific things happening around the world this weekend. I mean, it has been a 48 to 72 hours of absolutely one tragedy after another. And so then it's just like, I'm feeling so good and I'm feeling in the Christmas spirit. And then I turned that on. I'm just like, oh my God, what is happening in the world? And, whether it was a tragedy at Bondi Beach in Australia as they were celebrating Hanukkah, whether it was the Brown University shooting as these poor students are studying for finals. And I'm super sensitive to the college ones because my husband works on a university campus. He's been on lockdowns before. It's a very real kind of sort of terrifying situation for me. Not kind of sort of very. And until a couple of months ago, our middle daughter also worked on a college campus. And so I'm always like, very, very tuned into that, but also it's just so tragic. And then the stories behind that. And then the news about Rob Reiner and his wife last night and the tragedy of that story. And I am of the generation where very impacted by all of Rob Reiner's creations. All the way back, starting with the Archie Bunker show to all the movies he's done, Harry Met Sally, what's the one? Stand By Me. I mean, I could just go on and on and on with the impact his work has had on my life. And I live in California, and he's been very engaged in California and he and his wife and their activism here. And he's just, in my generation, is just such a beloved figure. And so when my husband read that to me last night, I just teared up. I'm like, all right, that is, I came home feeling so good. And that's just all the tragedy I can take right now. I was afraid to turn on the Today Show this morning when I got up with my morning coffee to see what else had happened in the world. And so I think that's just a classic example of holding all the nuance of the settling to my soul experiences this weekend and the realness of living in this very chaotic landscape right now. So I'm kind of feeling all the things today. And then I'm in this foggy, kind of dreary, but I've got all the candles on. I'm wearing a sweater. I've got all my tree lights on and all the things, the fire, like fake fire on Netflix on my big screen TV. I mean, all the things, trying to keep the good vibes flowing and also not ignoring and dealing with the real tragedies that are happening and the feelings of what these poor people in the holidays. I mean, I think for me, losing someone and having a tragedy in your life happen between Thanksgiving and New Year's it just puts a permanent marking on that time of year for so many people, which is, I think, why it's so important for us as we navigate this to be so mindful. Oh, I know I had another thing. A future guest on the podcast I've already recorded for. She's going to be on in the spring. Lost a kiddo this weekend. That was, and so I was really in a very tragic way. So by 9:00 last night, I'm going to bed. I cannot take it anymore. So
you didn't have a glass of wine before that?
No, I didn't, because I wouldn't have gone to sleep. Middle age, I can't have wine after 5 or I can't sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that is so coming as you are, I'm coming feeling all of the feelings, all the gratitude, all the hope, all the sadness and frustration and anger and relief. And, during my staff meeting today, we celebrated all that we created in 2025. We had an incredibly creative year in 2025. So just allowing the space and giving myself room to make space for all of it, which I think is a very common theme for December. So with all that, Laura, how are you doing today?
I mean, today specifically, I had my day. I worked with my, very VIP client today, and I came home tired, just honestly, I was spent. And when I get tired, I feel very overwhelmed, and I honestly get emotional sometimes when I'm so tired, because I'm like, oh my God, I have so much to do. And I just said to myself, I'm just going to make a good meal, because I need a nice warm meal. I eat meat. I made meatloaf. It's a comfort food for sure.
I too am a meatitarian.
Okay. So I made this meatloaf, and I had some roasted broccoli, and it was spur of the moment, and it just kind of hit the spot, and it felt good, because I needed a warm meal. I just needed something. And so that's, what led up to meeting up today. And so after that, I felt very good, because I was nourished. I sat down. I sat in front of the fire with my husband. It was just warm and toasty and cozy. And, it's been dreary here. And I don't like to look at the news for the reasons that you're sharing, Melissa. So I actually have been very intentional of not. And yes, I heard about, Rob Reiner and everything else. But I intentionally don't look at the news on a daily basis, because it is it's really not a positive thing for the most part, in addition to all like the other things. So I'm intentional about this certain things. And then, talking about the weather and here in New York, it's been drear. It's been crazy drear, cold, cold, cold. Finally, we had snow yesterday, which makes it bright,
Yeah.
so just coming in today, it was like, we had that snow, which actually kind of felt good. And then the coziness. So in this now moment, I feel very good. I feel nourished and blessed and excited, happy to be here with you in the final final Come As You Are. So it was looking forward to this, and I said to myself, what could I do to, be able to have that capacity to hold space here right now, because I knew coming in I was tired and I needed, so I filled my cup as you were talking about. I definitely filled my cup so I can hold space and be here too. So right now I feel good.
Yeah. You such a good point though, is that intentionality. You knew you needed a warm, comforting meal, and it's so you knew you needed that to not just feed your physical body, but to feed your soul. And I think it's so important. You were intentional. You paid attention to those things. You knew the impacts of that. And I think it's so when we're in that kind of space, what can I do? For me, it's lighting candles, and it's what can I do to make my space feel connected, warm, safe? I had a little surprise. I thought I was going to record this in front of my tree. My husband came home early because he had a doctor appointment in the area. So surprise, not recording in front of my tree. Being flexible, like, okay. But yeah, just remembering those things that nourish you to keep you. And you definitely, I think, have to be really intentional about how much time you allow yourself on a screen. Take it, for me, it's like I try to manage it. And my husband has more capacity than I do. I have learned to just leave the room or go do something else. If we're home at the same time and he wants to keep taking it in, I'll be like, no, I'm done. That drains me. They're just yelling at each other. There's nothing that I can do to contribute to this situation. I get engaged in places and spaces where I can make an impact, where my involvement, my contribution, my showing up can make an impact. Once I know the information, if there's no way that I can make an impact, I've heard it, I am aware, and I'm walking away. And I'm not dragging myself down with it. I think we have to be very mindful of that. Are you still there, my friend?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
We can't see. Yeah, we can hear you. Yes, we can. All right. Let me know how you're doing today.
Oh, well, with me, I just have so much anticipation built up for this book journey on the way. And I just know that it's going to touch a lot of lives if people decide to pick it up and buy it and share it with their loved ones. So I'm very hopeful that it'll make an impact in people's lives, where people will read it and it could help them transform and go on a healing journey in their lives. And the ripple effect of that can be, spreading and expanding more harmony and peace throughout the world, and having these people make an impact on other people's lives as well, through finding strategies for inner peace. So I'm very hopeful about that. But at the same time, I have this heightened anxiety about about the holidays, as I'm sure everyone does, with having their family gatherings and having to get together with friends and loved ones, and wondering how they're going to juggle it all. So yes, I have a lot on my mind, but I'm making time to just make sure I do the things that keep me grounded, like spending time with the dog and going for my daily walks with the dog for fresh air, because if I miss one of those days, I'm really off balance. And I find that I'm not as productive. So I did this experiment where I was in a really intense project that I was dealing with. And it went on for 2 months, this project, and I changed up my routine and went for a walk starting in the morning for 30 minutes with my dog. And I did something that I liked for me in the first half of the day after getting my daughter off to school. And I just noticed this big difference. Like everything didn't feel as mundane or as heavy or as stressful because I started my day doing something that filled my soul and it helped me feel like I could release stress and tension from previous days. And that really helped me learn a lesson that, like don't just jump into the everyday grind every day. Do something for yourself that will really lift you up and energize you. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing.
Well, and starting your day that way. Oh, Nadine made it.
Hi.
You made it. All right. We're talking to Tara right now, but we'll get to you. I'm so glad you got here. Nadine's joining us from Australia. Her computer just start over, refresh. I think it might have crashed. Maybe not. Now she's here. So I'm so glad to see you, but we'll get to you in a moment. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a come as you are panel. So this is a perfect way to jump in. Tara, you said something I think that's so important that we underestimate the power of, and it's starting the day with something that nourishes you, because that allows you to go into your workspace, that space where you want to get things done. You want to work, you might have a list you're working off or a set of things you need to accomplish. You go into there fully energized, fully refueled and refreshed. And there's data out there that supports it. We get more done when we do it we get more done in less time when we're refreshed and present than if we just keep dragging on and pushing ourselves from a depleted state. I think that's such an important factor to consider as we do this. Tell people the title of your book and when it's getting released.
Yes, it is called Life Hacks for Healing and Harmony, and the release date is January 15th of 2026. It will be found on Amazon. Okay. And yeah, it's very exciting. It's stories about my life and difficulties that I've dealt with, for anywhere from anxiety to finding my purpose and self-discovery, and dealing with like having a loved one having an illness, as well as grief and all the things we go through as women, self-image struggles, identity crisis, dealing with our egos and all these different things as women. But it's ways to pick up tools to help you cope and find ways to, really get in contact with that inner peace. Because we all know that external things and people outside of ourselves can't make us happy. We have to do that for ourselves. So yes, I'm hoping that it will help people find inner peace in this day in our life, and it will leave a legacy for younger generations, because I do know for a fact that younger generations are, really struggling mentally and emotionally, and we need to be the women that are out there that are helping to mentor them and carry them through, because we don't know what their future holds. And this is something that, we can all be a part of.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. It's that changing that narrative around what it means and the importance of prioritizing our wellness and having that be at the top of the list so we can show up as our healthiest, most authentic selves. And then, us being able to help them carry that forward so we can switch that so that, as they are coming up and going into adulthood and the generation after them gets the idea planted in them early on that they deserve to be seen, known, and heard, that they have value regardless of what titles, roles, or responsibilities they have, that it is always okay to say no when it isn't serving you, when it isn't healthy for you. I mean, and getting rid of this idea of feeling guilty for those things and giving them the support and resources they need, helping them know how to connect and communicate. I mean, all those things so important. And I know you've been working on this for a while. I'm so excited to see it. I know it's going to be beautiful. You ooze serenity and peace from your being. You just do.
Thank you. It just took a lot of work and it's
Yeah.
still in progress, but 4 years of going down this healing journey and finding ways that I could touch people's lives. That has been the most rewarding part. And it's great to be here because you create this great platform for all of us women to share our stories. And that's the way we can really connect and make a difference in this world. So
Yeah.
thank you for that, Melissa.
Bet, Tara. So glad to know you. All right. Nikki. Nikki is new to our panel. She is our bringing in the last panel of 2025. And so share with us, welcome to Together with You, to the Come As You Are panel. How are you doing today in this Come As You Are?
Woohoo! Today, okay, it has been a very emotional day. I've been crying all day, but I need to rewind a little bit, and not crying because I'm hurting or sad or anything, but it's a lot going on. So you said that January seemed like a very long time, and then the rest of the year went flying by. I agree with that 100% because January is my birthday, so I make it last a long time.
Oh gosh.
But this year has been full of life, if you will. So February, I was wrongfully terminated after being struck by a colleague, and the company blamed me. And so I have a lawsuit going there, right? And then shortly after that, I was in a car accident. Someone rear-ended me, right? And so there's another lawsuit there. And then 2 months later, another same accident, different driver, but the same incident. I'm at a stoplight and somebody plows into me. So that's that. But somehow between all of that, I was able to write a book and release that. In addition to all of that, my guy of 6 years, I broke up with him for 4 months.
Oh my gosh.
So that was all emotional, but we're good now. And yeah, so and then it's just been a lot. But today I walked down to the ocean, and I was sitting there, and I just got really emotional because, I don't know what everybody's love life is like, but I've been in relationships where, you get hurt, and nobody wants to be hurt, right? So this relationship that I've been in, I realized today that I had been half in, half out. One mistake or something he says, I'm out. Or, and so about 2 months ago, I literally said, you know what, I didn't say it to him, I just said it to God, the universe. He's my final answer. And it seemed like when I said that, our relationship shifted into something so amazing, so much love that all I do is cry when I think about him because I'm so happy. So,
Wow.
I was sitting there just boo-hooing, and I said, if somebody were to walk past me, they would think my heart was broken, but my heart was just broken open. Like, I am just so happy with this guy. I'm happy. I feel like I finally got to this place in my life that things are, even though I have all these lawsuits and things going on and playing in the background, what an amazing time. I was able to write the book, release it with a publisher, and working on my new album right now, which is going to be released. I'm really looking forward to 2026 because I'm going to start a podcast show. And just, I'm just excited. So I'm very emotional today. That's me.
Well, I think that's such a good example of the emotions, and crying can come up in so many different ways. We can have tears of joy, tears of relief, tears of gratitude, tears of sorrow and grieving and anger. There's so many things. And I think it's just that pivotal point of allowing ourselves to feel it and to name it. You were able to name, you were able to identify, I have not, and I think it's really hard when we've been hurt, when we've been through hard things. It can be really hard to fully invest in relationships and invest, especially when people have hurt us in the past. And I know, for my husband, we've been married for 32 and a half years, but I came from a very bumpy background of relationships, and many several of the first years of our relationship, something would happen or I'd betray you. He's like, I'm not them. I won't respond like X. I'm not going to do that. So, you know, and that really, it was such, and it was I needed the reminder of that this is a safe space. This is what's happened in the past. That doesn't mean that's what's going to happen now. I mean, it's just such, but I think it's that ability to name it and recognize it.
Yeah.
So that you can move forward. And it's, you talked about really tough things that have happened and are happening to you right now. But when you have a foundation of contentment, of stability, of trust in yourself, and and surrounding yourselves with ones that you love and that you trust, you can still operate from a stable foundation out of that. It doesn't, but it's so important to have that stability so that when life's that, that we're able to have that to operate out of and draw from. So thank you so much for sharing that. What is the name of your book that's out? Share about that.
It's called Loved You, Hated You. And little trivia, it's actually the title of a song on my first album.
Oh, wow.
So I was in an abusive relationship a trillion years ago. And when I got out of it, I wrote the song called Loved You, Hated You. And the final line to that is, and now I'm releasing you. And after sitting back, I'm also a filmmaker. So I was like, I'm going to write something about that. So I created this story and these characters very loosely based on my actual trauma, but the emotions are the same. And that's what I wanted to give in the book.
Very exciting. And where can people find that?
You can get it from Amazon. You can get it on my website, NikkiAllen.com. And you can, of course, go to Balboa Press and get it straight from the publisher.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Nadine, you made it. Hi. It's Tuesday for Nadine. She's already gotten through Monday. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I think the worst thing that's happening to me at the moment is just battling jet lag. So I've literally just had 6 weeks in Europe, which was just divine. So it's like taking that time for myself and filling the well, so to speak. So I spent the year finishing my second book, sent that off just at the start of November, and then went myself overseas for 6 weeks just to sort of replenish. And it's been magnificent time. And I've just got back last Friday and jet lag. Whoa. I literally slept for 18 hours yesterday.
Wow.
And it's like, you need a holiday when you come back from a holiday.
You do. It's so true. Especially when you're dealing with that time difference.
Oh, it was just craziness. And I think I've just totally disrupted the whole household because my husband comes home and we've been like my youngest daughter came with me. And we're both sort of like trying to fit back into the household sleep routine. But then we're finding like we're waking up 4:30 in the morning, wide awake, and it's a bit disruptive for everyone at the moment. But we're getting back on track.
Good.
I woke up this morning feeling normal, so that's where I'm at the moment. So it's not too bad. I shouldn't complain. Okay. And then my computer's like, oh, I'm going to update now because you've been away for 6 weeks. And it's like, all I've got is this sort of ring of death. It's like, I've got to be on. It's like, oh, okay, it's meant to be. So apologies for the disruption, but I'm here.
That's great. I'm so glad. Can you tell us anything about the second? Nadine put out a beautiful book of poetry earlier this year. It's so wonderful. She is in the past shared some of her work with us here on the platform. So first tell people where they can find that. And then can you tell us anything about the second book?
Okay. The Grey Between is the one that was released in July this year. So that's available globally on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and a few other places. That's also published through the Hill of Content Publishing. It's just a beautiful book of poetry, basically, sort of spanning the last probably 20 or 30 years of my life. And for me, poetry was just a way of resolving issues that I sort of have come up against in my life. So it's just a basic documentation of those decades. So writing for me has always been sort of my therapy. So the second book is a continuation, basically. It's just more poetry, more sort of probably a lot of retrospection.
Yeah.
And more from where I am now, but, a 60-year-old looking back at my life. And there's still some sort of poignant moments in there and a little bit of spice and a bit of venom,
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
That's where we're at. Looks like we're going to be publishing next year. So at this moment, that's all I know. Probably, I have a working title called Poetry or Prozac. Hopefully it will remain at that. My cats come to visit.
Hello, kitty. She's probably glad you're home. That's so exciting. I love that so much. And I think it's something that's really special in this group here is we have several people in this group that are really able to tap into your creativity as a method of healing and growth and discovery and release, but that also becomes support for other women. I mean, I think there's so much within that, and it's such a beautiful tool the way you are all able to utilize that in different ways. Okay, we're going to circle back to Laura now. You've gotten to hear from everyone. Any thoughts or questions come up for you as different ones of us have shared?
Honestly, what's coming up for me is the inspiration, because you all have written books, and I'm just inspired and excited, to be honest. That's one that I wrote a small chapter with the collaboration of other women about a little bit about our stories, which is a beautiful experience, very cathartic. It was one chapter. There was 13 of us, which was beautiful. And so just being here with you guys you've all written a book. I do want to write another book. Again, a little bit of twist on actually midlife and menopause, and really shining hope for women, that it's not bad, that it really is not bad, and it's really a rebirth for women. And that's, so kind of like what's coming up, honestly, is the inspiration. And I'm with women who have written books, and I'm excited. Yeah. Honestly, you have all excited me.
I love that so much. And I think there's so many different ways you could go with that, because you have your own story with what you learned about your body and food, and what food means to your Italian family and the heritage and tradition, and how you had to take your own experiences with food and the things that weren't sitting well with your body and adapt that and still find ways to love it, and for you to still be able to enjoy these traditions, but in a way that was honoring to you and your body and your health. But you also really learned how to, with yourself first, how to apply all those mental, emotional, physical, soul connections we have with food, and how that impacts our relationship with it, how we utilize it, how we have, whether it's in a healthy way, whether it's in a coping or numbing way. And now you're able to help other women discover and dig into all those things. And many of us here, not all of us, but many of us here in this group, being in that midlife phase where we had to learn that our bodies shifted and things change. And all of a sudden, what used to work doesn't work anymore. And the frustration that comes with that. But then having people like Laura in the world that can remind us, we just got to shift here. It's all right. My friend Michelle Folan does it too. And I was able to tap into all these resources. Allison Blood. I mean, I have some wonderful women in this network that I've met that have done their work and figured it out. And now they shared as resource. You can go so many. I'm so excited for what you're what you'll be able to create book wise.
Yeah, I'm excited too. But like I said, everyone here, you have excited me, and excited to see your books as well, and just to be amongst authors. It feels good.
Yeah,
Honestly, it feels good.
I know. I love that. Good. Thanks for sharing that. All right, Nikki, any questions for anybody you've heard from?
I like Laura's stuff because, first of all, you inspired me to make a meatloaf. I was like, I haven't had a meatloaf in a while. I think
so
I
good.
need a meatloaf. I am such a foodie, and I love what you're doing because so my adolescent years, I was a professional athlete. I trained for the Olympics. I was a gymnast.
Wow.
So I've always been thin. There are really no obese people in my family at all. However, I didn't realize, and I'm probably in the same age group as everybody else. Back then, we didn't have all of the talk about food and the way you process it in your mind and all that stuff that we are so mindful of today. I'll just say that. And for me, I ate a lot, and I now realize I ate because not I was hungry, I was stressed out. I was always stressed. And then my father would say things to me. And so I started gaining weight, but my weight gain didn't make me fat. It made my muscles swollen, if you will. So my dad started calling me big stuff. And it's like, I don't want to be called that, but he thought it was funny, So what does that do? It made me eat more, because I'm trying to, it's comfort food. And my comfort food is fried chicken. Go figure. So then I went to college, no parents. Oh my God, I'm having the best time of my life. But now I'm eating for a different reason because I'm so excited and I didn't get to just enjoy all of this stuff. Fast forward to now, it's so funny because I realized, why I was eating like that. And seriously, the moment I realized that within the last 3 months, I've dropped 30 pounds. I did absolutely nothing in terms of like working out and it was just, my mind was like, you don't need all this food, and I could, because I work out still and I walk my dogs 3 times a day. So that keeps me going. But the weight was just there. And then when, it was like when my mind caught up with my body and spirit, like, you don't need all of that. Right. It just, shoosh, and everybody's like, what did you do? Would you Ozempic? I'm like, nope. Nope. I went to the doctor one day. She said, you look different. I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, Ozempic. I'm like, no, I don't know why everybody thinks Ozempic. It's just a mental change in my mind, and the body responded,
Yes. I love that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's speaking your language.
Absolutely. Well, and just the point is that it's not always about the food and the physical activity. Like it is that mind, and it's a lot of feelings, like feeling safe in your body, and you're eating because you're feeling safe, right? Like that's giving you that's safety. And so when you can find safety in a in a different way, it's just so you found it. So that's beautiful. I love it.
So I'm all about what you're doing. I'm like, yes, write that book, write that book. Because people, because we're in this culture of, oh, you got to lose weight. And you're thinking you got to go to the gym. You got to watch what you eat. You shouldn't eat that. And you probably shouldn't, but eat it in moderation, But it's a mental thing, for a lot of people. And so you need to write that book.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Tara, how about you? Anything come up for you as you're listening to everybody?
Yes, I actually want to add to what Nikki was saying, because it brought about the idea of self-image struggles, which is a lot of what I had dealt with. And I wrote my story about that because coming from my culture, there was a lot of comments about body appearance and, basically body shaming. And
Oh, wow.
you know, like I got called a lot of things growing up, but that I was big boned, or you know,
Yep.
you're overweight, you should watch what you're eating. And I would be completely offended by this, but I was an introverted, shy child, so I would never speak up against anybody. But
Yeah.
over time that builds, right? So that
Mhm.
weighed on my self-esteem. And what I want to teach people about this is, you know, people could say comments to you about, you know, your appearance, and you know, you could either take that to heart and, you know, really internalize it and let it affect you. And I know it does psychologically with a lot of people, because they either have some sort of eating disorder or they overeat to numb themselves. um, but I just want everybody to know, you know, you can leave those comments where it is and
Mhm.
drop it when you hear it, and don't choose not to internalize it, because I want everyone to know, you know who you are as a person. If you're a good person, you treat people well, you know, what does appearance matter? What matters is what's on the inside. And if you feel good and safe in your body and
Right.
you eat in moderation for your own health, that means more to you than anything. You know that you're keeping nourished and trying to keep as healthy as you can. But yeah, just, you know, comparing, have these younger generations comparing their image to other women and other people out there, that could be a dangerous path to go down.
Mhm.
So I encourage people to, you know, honor the body that you're in, look at yourself in the mirror and say affirmations, and find a few things that you do love about your appearance. And
Yeah.
say it to yourself, treat yourself like, you know, love the person that you are, because there's nobody else like you out there.
I
And
love that.
yeah, no one could bring you down. People could say the body shaming comments, but at the end of the day, you are a human being, and you can't let anyone bring you down, because those are just words.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And so many times when people say those words, it's more a reflection of their own experience than it is about you. And unfortunately, when people are coming and operating from insecure places, they will lash out at others in order to try to soothe their own being, instead of doing the work on themselves they need to do to be healthy with themselves. And so I think it's such an important reminder. And that's why I'm such a proponent. You all have heard me talk about this of, you know, I utilize the feel framework, and that's what I talk to women about. I'm like, you have that framework that helps you every day. Know you're valuable, know you're worthy, know
Mhm.
you get to choose. And choosing yourself is never the wrong answer, and that you don't, and being mindful of who you surround yourself with, the voices you surround yourself with, what you allow yourself to take in, you know, being very clear with your what you will and won't allow in your spaces and places, and making sure that you're honoring yourself in that way, because we really teach people how to treat us based on what we will and
Allow.
won't allow.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I
So
think,
true.
just if you don't mind me piggybacking off of that,
Yeah.
part of what changed for me was, like I said, it started here. Um,
Mhm.
and then I realized this is a temple, you know,
Mhm.
and I need to
Yeah.
treat it a little bit better too.
Mhm.
So I also have found myself like, oh, I've already had something fried this week. I don't want that. And it's nothing like because I don't want to gain weight. It's not
Right.
even that. It's like, this is my temple.
Yes.
I don't need that grease all, you know, I'm not going to
Yeah.
stop eating it, but I don't need it every day, all day. I just, the mind, just my mindset changed about what this is. And this is my temple. And, you know, as we get older, I'll just tell you, I'll be 57 in a few weeks in January. And, you know, so we're not getting older, right? So it's like, I want to continue
Yeah.
because I'm seeing people my age, you know, getting sick and, you know, all these things. Is like, I don't want that. So I'm going to take as good a care of myself. But it started in my mind. I had to understand this is my temple. And I think you said, Laura, you know, you only have one time to do this, you know, this is it. So It's very, very, very important. And like Tara said, you have to be mindful. Just be mindful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where when I start working with women, I take them to three very simple questions. And you guys have heard me that have been on here with me before, heard me talk about my one pager a lot, where I ask you, describe yourself by your character traits, not by your titles, not by your roles, but who you are as a person. Name 5 activities that nourish you, and name 5 words on how you want to feel the next 6 months. Now you've got that information that tells you who you are. It tells you what you value. It tells you what you need to nourish you. Okay, what actions and steps are you putting into place to bring these things to life? Because we can write them down on paper, but then it's meant to be a guide and to let you know, oh, okay, well, this is who I am. Well, wait a minute. These people I'm engaged with, these activities I'm engaging with right now, they're not really in alignment with these 3, questions or things I've just asked myself. Right. So what can I do to shift that? And also, how am I honoring these things? And it just really helps take you back home and remember your value, remember your worth, and remember to make sure you're making space and creating space in your life to honor yourself and incorporating these things into that. And it's that acknowledgement and that awareness. All right, Nadine, from what you've heard today, when you've jumped in, any questions or thoughts come up for you?
I still feel like I'm trying to play catch up, but I think if you will permit me, I have a poem that kind of it's about the impact of writers and that sort of the residual sort of echoes after you've read something. So if you don't, is that all right, Melissa?
Absolutely, yes. I love when you share your poems.
Thank you. So this is called Captured Life. Like the rhythmic creak of wood on water, but quicker than the lapping, she squeezed within my world like germs beneath my nails, to reappear weeks, years later, as the movie that flickers beyond reach, or the book never completed, and I'm thrown back to the lulling of flat water across the hull, back to the child woken bolt upright to lion snores that pummeled the bedroom walls, convinced ghosts banged the door. I turn the page. Years later, the liquid song underlies the weep for reprieve as my husband gives rise to visits with the door ghost. And in that flash of flare gun, I fall to the deck, like the fallopian tube left on the operating floor, as white coats gouge the tumor that grew bigger than a baby's head. I carry scars, but her words are scabs to pick at, nudge me over the edge, leave me bleeding more than red.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So would you mind sharing, you have always have a lot of intentionality behind your poems. So would you mind sharing the inspiration behind that one?
Okay, so one of probably my most favorite authors is Sharon Olds. She's just this wonderful poet who writes very raw, very open, honest poetry, and I've always sort of aspired to be like that. And I just remember reading some of her work, and it just sort of sits in my head and often pulls at me ages later. So it's sort of like one of those things. I've read something of hers, and it just sits there, and then goes bang and sort of resonates. And it's just, things that have happened to me. It's like when we read poetry, for example, we resonate with the things that we can relate to. So it's like one of those things, I've had tumors pulled out of me.
Because I mean, me knowing your story a little bit more, I've heard the stories of your life weaved into this poem.
Yeah, so it's just like we all experience life in our own ways, but it helps to share that so that onlookers or on readers understand that they're not alone. And I think that impact of being authors and writing books to share our experiences with people is really important, and it's valid work. And I think because we're a panel of authors or writers, I think what we have to say does resonate with people, and there will always be someone out there that needs to hear it. So I think we shouldn't be scared or frightened to actually express ourselves, because we are a service to people. Whether we know it or not, there's someone out there that will gain something from what we have to share. So I think it's important. I just wanted to share that one.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. Oh my gosh, I love your work. I have your first book of poems. I can't wait to see this second one. As we get ready to wrap up today, I'm going to give you each a chance to share a final thought, and then your website where people can find you. And then again, all this information will be in our show notes. So Tara, we'll start with you.
Okay, great. My parting words are, this holiday season, no matter what type of relationships you have with your family and loved ones and friends, I want you to all find at least one or two things you could be grateful for this holiday season, and just enjoy the good food, the gatherings and the good music, and, just this special magical time of year. If you need some space for yourself, make sure you're taking that time to ground yourself and have that little time of silence and quiet time, and still doing your rituals and everything to keep energized and keep your cup full. But yeah, just really having that perspective of gratitude that our time on earth isn't forever. This is our temporary home. Like, just really honor that time you have with your loved ones, because we don't know what tomorrow brings, but we could live in the present and enjoy the moments that we have in front of us. So yeah, and the way you could reach me to learn more about inner peace and trying to just find more joy in your lives, is you could go to my website. It's at terrasweetawakening.com. And you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Tara May Temple.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Laura, how about you?
So what do I want to share? I do want to share that I'm very grateful that I was on this panel this evening with these amazing authors. Very excited. I do want to share, because I know as this time of year people reflect, they make New Year's resolutions. So what I personally do is I reflect over the past year of, I go through my planner and what I've been doing, what I did. And, I have my planner, I call it my brain. We call it our brain in my house. It's our brain. and if we lose it, we're like lost,
We've literally lost our minds.
We've literally lost, like I have everything, and it's like this family thing we have. So, I go through it, and I see all my accomplishments, and there's some things, of course, that I put down that I didn't get to, or I didn't reach how I wanted to reach it. But I'm sharing this because I do invite people to look at this as feedback and not failure, because a lot of times we look at what we didn't accomplish as a failure, and people use that a lot. What failures did you have in the past year, and what do you want to change? And I don't look at it as failure. It's really just feedback, and then moving forward. Again, to set your visions and your goals, whatever they may be. But it's growth and progression, and there's no perfection. So that's kind of what I want to share, just because what I've been going through, and I don't like that failure. I know it's semantic things, but it's not failure. It's truly just feedback, and we're learning, and we're all growing. And there are certainly so many things that I really wanted to achieve that I set my goals for, and I did not get them. I I was like, okay, reflected, I felt maybe bad, maybe a day or two. And I was like, you know what? But I did so much other growing in that process. And so that's what I want to share. It's all, it's all feedback and really going within and reflecting.
Yeah.
And I just have to say, Melissa, I love how your steps. I really love how you ask people to share about themselves, and not with their title, but with their values and how you would describe yourself. And so anyone listening, like that's beautiful. And I think that's a great thing too. So that's what I want to share. And that's it.
And then you're lauratolosi.com,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. lauratolosinutrition.com.
Laura Tolosi Nutrition. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. All right. Nikki, how about you? Last thought and where people can find you.
My last thought is I kind of want to piggyback off of Laura, and she's talking about failures and, not to look at them as failures. And I always say, because we, especially as women, we're so hard on ourselves, and my word always is give yourself some grace.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm going to leave that. Give yourself some grace. And you can find me at nikkiallen.com.
Thank you so much. All right, Nadine, how about you?
All right, I want to share a quote with you. Here goes. Attitude is a paintbrush. It colors everything.
Boy, is that true.
Yeah, it's by forgive my French here. It's Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Okay. So he's a French writer from I think he died in 1944. But he's got beautiful quotes, and I think I like to go with that one because it's true. I mean, our attitudes really do impact on ourselves and the people around us. So I think, like we're all saying, be kind to ourselves. Don't feel guilty about enjoying the holiday season coming up. If you're hungry, eat. Don't. We need to look after ourselves first and foremost. So
yeah. And your website?
Yes. So I'm NadineEllis.com. So that's all one word, NadineEllis.com. I'm also on Instagram at Nadine Ellis Poetry. So that's all one word as well. Yeah. Right. And the book is The Grey Between. So
yes,
another plug for it. Thank you very much, Melissa.
You bet. Yeah. Oh my gosh, so good. I think my last thought is, this is the time of year when we get busy that we tend to take out those things that are self-care stuff, and that's actually when we need it the most. So that doesn't come off your calendar first. It just doesn't. Maybe you have to adjust it and be flexible. I get that. I mean, I'm going to be on the road for 10 days. So I won't be able to do, like, something that's very important to me is moving my body physically every day, lifting weights, doing those things. I have strength bands that fit easily into my suitcase. So I can still do my workouts, whether I have a gym or not, whatever it is. That's important for me. It's important for my body. It's important for my mind. It's important for my soul to just move all that through. It's very meditative for me. So that's my thing. So I adapt and I have to adjust a little, but I don't remove it. It's still part of what I know I need to show up how I want to show up. And so that's that thing. So even if you have to adjust a little bit, don't have that be the first thing that goes. Make sure you're still making space for that thing you need, because think about it in a way of, like, not only how do I want to experience this time, how do I want people to experience me? And how do I want my family, my friends, my coworkers, my partner, my kids, if you have them, remember me in this time? And so that's make sure you're not the first thing that you remove from your calendar when it comes to taking care of you during this time. And I'm going to have the flyer that has those questions I referred to earlier. That's going to be attached in the show notes as well. They're not only great questions to ask yourself this time of year, especially as we go into the new year, it's also a great conversation starter when you're in groups. It's a way to get to know people in a different way. And especially if you're worried about the people gathered around your table and what other topics they might bring up, this is a great way to kind of control the narrative and the conversation and really move it into a direction that can be really nurturing and informative and inviting. So that's another idea for that too. But I want to thank these wonderful women for being here with me today. I appreciate you all so much. And we want all of you listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be back on January 5th with a new panel. And I'm so thankful for those of you that have tuned in as we have created this new space for us as women to gather together in groups. A little different from our podcast format where it's one-on-one or sometimes just me solo, this place for us to come together and have these conversations that impact our ability to live out, finding empowerment, embracing layers. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to all my panelists who have joined me in 2025. I can't wait for what's to come in 2026. Take good care of yourselves. Have a wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Boxing Day, New Year. I don't think I've left anything out. If I have, let me know. All the things, all the time, all the gathering. Take good care of yourselves, and we'll see you in 2026 here on Together We Feel.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.